So there's some controversy right now amongst right-wingers and patriots about what people like libs of TikTok and others are doing to shed light on some of the insane liberal leftist really responses to Saturday's events, and to get these people fired essentially. And here's some things I want you to think about, maybe some food for thought. Number one, I was under the liberal media spell for a very long time, very long time, many years. When I say I hated Donald Trump, I genuinely mean it. I don't say that lightly. And yet, even in my darkest days of blind hatred, I would have never ever lamented the fact that the dude missed. Ever. And even if the thought reflexively crossed my mind, because let's be honest, we all have dark, disgusting thoughts that we don't want others to know, I would have had enough sense to not share it publicly on a public forum. So yeah, we can blame the three-letter agencies that have been manipulating and brainwashing the American public for decades. We can blame the Secret Service and the federal agents for their failures on Saturday, and we should. We can blame corporate media for the avalanche of lies and manipulation for at least the past 10 years, and we should. We can blame the Biden administration for constant lies and very dangerous rhetoric, and we should. But at a certain point, we also have to blame individuals, because what is it in you that is broken? What is it in you that is so evil that you think that this is okay to not only think but to post? And even today, you know, if this had, God forbid, not been Trump, had been someone else who maybe I don't like, who's currently in office or who's formerly been in office, I would have never thought, I'm sad he missed. Ever. I honestly, let alone posting it, I really don't even think I would have had the thought, because what happened on Saturday it's all just sad. And I wish the whole thing hadn't happened. Photos are very iconic, but if all things being equal, I wish it hadn't happened to anybody, let alone Trump, because I've never lived through a serious attempt on a president's life. That has not happened in my lifetime, and it doesn't feel good. You know, so what is it that's inside of you? Because I'm no better than anyone else. I'm a sinner just like everyone else, and yet I wouldn't do this. And I know a lot of people wouldn't do this. They would know that it's a line that you don't cross, and they wouldn't even have that thought. So again, what is it in you? Because, honey, at a certain point, you don't need your Home Depot job. You need Jesus, because there's something broken inside of you. And I know that as patriots, we want to protect our God-given right to free speech. However, no one's calling for these people to be imprisoned. No one's calling for something worse to happen to them. But free speech does not mean wholly without any kind of consequence at all. We have the right to free association in this nation. And there are consequences for things you say and do. That's part of life. That's the way life goes. We can't possibly regulate that. And if you are going to be out there publicly saying it's too bad that someone missed and we'll do better next time, which is like a borderline threat, borderline something that would be considered illegal, maybe you should be fired. Maybe you should be forced to resign. Maybe you should be investigated by federal agents, you know? I mean, these things should happen. And there's all this talk of, well, we don't want to do what they do to us, and we don't want to engage in cancel culture. To me, this isn't cancel culture. I know cancel culture is sort of this vague thing. We all have different ideas about what it actually is. But in the past, genuinely, whenever I've thought of cancel culture, I think of usually two things: that it's over something unreasonable, it's over something innocuous, and very often, not always, but very often, it's something that happened way back in the past, and people go digging for it. I always think of Kevin Hart a few years ago, the controversy over him. He was going to host the Oscars, but oh gosh, he had tweeted 10 years ago jokes about gay people. I mean, really just digging into people's pasts for this stuff that people have forgotten about or never even knew about, and really doesn't matter. It's not illegal. It's not really anything. It was a joke. It's stuff like this. That's not what this is. Nobody's going digging on you. This is stuff that you posted within hours of the tragedy on Saturday. It's stuff you're still posting in the last few days, and it's not unreasonable. You are posting really vile, evil things. This is not getting you fired, going after you for a difference of opinion. This is not just your opinion as a leftist, as a liberal. This is really vile stuff. And again, some of it is borderline illegal. Some of it should actually be investigated. And If we think of X and we think of social media as the town square, what would have happened back in the day if someone had gone into the town square and yelled this vile stuff? You think nothing would have happened? Because I don't. So we either have a social order, we either have social cohesion, or we don't. And right now, it kind of seems like we don't. And we need to tamp down on this, especially because as a people right now in America, unfortunately, we do not have a shared moral framework. And freedom is only possible when a people has a shared moral framework. And it's kind of like Tyson said, I'm going to butcher it, but the internet has made people too comfortable with being an a-hole and not getting punched in the face for it. You should be more upset at the state of America right now, that people feel as though they can say this stuff, spout off this nonsense, this vileness, this evilness, very often under their full face and name, and they don't even bat an eye. I mean, that's what's been going on the last 10 years, the type of rhetoric that they feel that this is okay to say after an attempt on a former president's life, and that they don't think that there'll be any consequences for that, like losing their job. You should be more upset at the state of America and at these people than you are at libs of TikTok or right-wingers or anything like that. Just my 2 cents.